Sin City, USA, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We welcome you into some great Cup racing action, part of the Lightspeed Racing League and the Wilder Graphix Cup Series as we get you ready for 200 miles and 133 laps around this 1.5-mile oval tonight. It is the Las Vegas 200 here in Vegas, virtually on iRacing. I am the captain, Chris Scala. We welcome you in. Of course, tonight being joined by the driver of the number 75 Wilder Graphix car. That is Landon Quisenberry. And Landon, of course, last week we were in Bristol. Tonight it's Las Vegas. In these Cup cars, what are we expecting tonight on this mile-and-a-half track out of these cars?
Well, you got to look back at a few races back at the Michigan race they had with these cars. They ran pretty similar to a super speedway, so even with 10 cars tonight, you have to treat it like a super speedway race, which is odd because you're at a mile and a half. So it's a changed mindset, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to kind of link up and work together and who's going to try and make moves for themselves. But it's going to be a lot more about momentum tonight than anything.
I was going to say also the handling tonight. What do we expect out of that factor, especially on a long run?
The fall off on these cars isn't necessarily there. You could probably go a full run and not feel like you've had anything different. Or the car will kind of push if you're in the draft, but if you're the leader, you won't feel a thing at all.
So as we enter tonight's race, let's put the point standings up here on the board. Thanks to Dan Lisa, or well, at least that's what I know it as. It's got a new name now, and I apologize for not remembering it off the top of my head. Landon leads the points right now by 5 over Adam Brady, Ira Kohlhaas, Dale Lee, and Dylan Reed, your top 5. As we enter this, the 6th race. I said 7th on the schedule. It's actually 6th race of the season because I don't know how to count. I went to school in Florida. Remember this. So with that said, though, we're getting ready for race number 6 here of tonight's schedule. And let's go and take a look really quickly at the pole sitter. You see that 42 down there at the bottom. Cade Ferguson won the pole tonight. Yes, that's Cameron Hearn's car, but Cade Ferguson on the pole with a 31.305. Put a cap on that pole award, so great job by that 42 winning the pole this evening. Now, these cars are simulating the 550 package in the next-gen cars. That is because they have not announced what package is going to be ran in real life next season. So basically, this is the next-gen body on top of today's Cup car. So look for those kind of speeds out here tonight. But right now, we're getting ready for what is about to be 8 laps of what I like to call a virtual pit party. Basically, it's a pit party, sort of. And what I mean by that is the fact that you're about to see these cars go out and run 8 laps without cautions, and basically from there set the lineup for the race. Now, Landon, of course, you're starting in this race in 4th. There you are right there. But taking a look at the starting lineup really quick for this race. As you mentioned, only 10 drivers making an appearance tonight, thanks to Grid Finder for the lineup. Cade Ferguson, Ira Kohlhaas in row 1. Row 2, Brandon Massey, Landon Quisenberry. Row 3, Joseph Murata, Aaron Davidson, Dale Lee, Keith Bouchard. And your final row, Joey Ladesseur and Dan Worley. Ladesseur, the French-Canadian driver, making an appearance. Something tells me you might see him in all 3 races that we're broadcasting tonight on the Captain Esports Network. Yeah, we're doing a triple header tonight, so I know I'm a lunatic. But hey, anywho, we're getting ready to do some fun racing here tonight, though. As I mentioned, the 8 laps. What's in your mind right here? Because obviously cold tires have been very tricky on these mile-and-a-half tracks.
Honestly, the thought process being for me would be just getting with my teammates there in the bottom lane. The 3 guys that were working together, the top 6 all worked together, but if you flip the middle row, that's how they were in line. The 2 Bohica guys of the 29 to 65 and the 03 were together, and then the 42, 75, and 5. So I would say look for them to try and find each other's drafting partners or their dance partners for the race more than anything.
I don't know if I should be laughing or not at the fact that there is a team called Bohica or not, because there's not many people that probably know what that term actually means. Here we go, green flag coming out for 8 laps of racing. Already some bumping going on back there. I think that was Worley telling Bouchard, hey, can we go ahead and go? Here we go, as Ferguson and Kohlhaas going to lead them off into turn 1. Is that a Mountain Dew LimeWire car down there at the bottom of the Massey?
Yeah, pretty awesome looking paint scheme. I'm glad he whipped that one out for under the lights. That one looked awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty spiffy, especially if you're a fan of, if you like orange soda and you've never had a chance to have a LimeWire from Mountain Dew, it is a fantastic drink. So off turn 4 will be Ferguson leading lap number 1. You see the draft already coming to work. That Pit Viper, that's a spiffy looking car too now. At number 5 of Joseph Murata. Kind of got a little bit of a, I mean, it's a faded rainbow look. I think it's kind of cool looking.
Some nice paint schemes out in the field tonight.
Oh, Massey with a crossover.
Well,
nice block, so to say. Wasn't a full block, but, you know, defensive maneuver.
Yeah, he didn't really have quite the momentum to go get this run, but maybe he can get Murata to help. Not quite, but he has his teammate behind him now.
5 laps to go already. And you see where the draft and how the pack just kind of forms back up there. It was kind of spread out, and it came right back together on that front straightaway. You got roughly 7 or 8 cars right here in this pack. And you see Murata rolling the bottom there. You see Quisenberry, as he talked about trying to draft with his teammate there in the 5 car. You got the, is that the 03 over there, Davidson. Different looking car there. Kind of a road racing kind of look on that car. See the 40 of Dale Lee back there also.
And like what Massey did there, he side drafted the 75 to get him away from his teammates, and that gave the outside a better run. You're going to see a lot of that tonight. It's going to be more of just manipulating the air than anything to get runs on people.
Well, the one thing I saw Tuesday night in this race was how the high line actually came into play later on.
Yeah, but at the same time, those Xfinity cars are higher horsepower too, so it really, yeah, the tires were a big factor. I don't really think they're going to be a factor quite tonight with the way these cars run.
I think.
I mean, Landon has no help on the bottom right now at all.
No, he doesn't. As you see, Murata's riding with him in the 5 car. Brandon Massey there in his 65, right behind the 29 of Cole Haas. As they come to 3 laps to go, kind of spreading out a little bit here. As you mentioned, that side draft, you see Quisenberry back there in the 75. That bottom line just kind of falling back a little bit. Another factor you mentioned with that Xfinity car is a little less downforce, so it's a lot more driving per se from the driver. So you had to go find yourself a line where these cars, I mean, for a little bit here, you're going to be in a slot car. It almost feels like.
Yeah, these next-gen cars are very stable compared to the current cars. I don't know if that just has something to do with the aero they worked on, the ducts, or just and like everything about it.
3
just
wide.
Seems like a completely different car, 3 wide.
Yeah, Colas moving to the bottom with help from the 03. Going to put the 42 in his sandwich, and Murata going to go backwards also with him. So that's a product of the draft right there coming into play as they come to the white flag this time. Almost running it like an Indy car here. Protecting the bottom. Kohlhaas leads him to the white.
See if Cade can make another run, or the 03, you're going to have to jump out of line to make a move. But you have to have the momentum to do it, too.
Yeah, let's see. 03's got the bottom there. It's going to be a very tough entry in that corner if he tries to make it. Not going to stick. Oh, 42 gets in the back and loses the back end. Car gets upset. Here comes the run from the 5 of Murata. Going to be 3 wide up the middle. Kohlhaas wins. And Massey going to 3rd. And Murata cleans out the Mountain Dew car. But as I've learned in the last couple of days, that seems to be happening a lot in this series, where after the checkered flag waves, it's like, all right, yeah. All right, so now the cars will load back up. And we will get ready for the race itself. And what was a very, very fun heat race there to check out. And now we'll get ready for the Bain Show, which is 200 miles tonight and 133 laps. And right there on the left side, basically how they finished in the heat race. That is how they will start in this main event tonight. Again, that'll go for 133 laps. There will be a couple competition cautions in this race. And that will basically put last week's winner in the back, which, trying to think off the top of my head, last week's winner was...
Justin Wilson, but he's
Yes,
not here
thank you.
tonight.
I'm like, who was it? I can't remember off the top of my head. I did the prep, but I forget names sometimes. Isn't that right, Tristan? I mean, Landon.
Yeah. That's all good, you know, forget sometimes. I kind of remember because I'm always watching these guys pull away from me. And they always say race car drivers have the memory of elephants, so just like Jimmy Spencer, he never forgets.
Well, I was wondering if you knew who Jimmy Spencer was. I'm very impressed with that callback right there. Well done. So they'll come to the green flag this time by in the Wilder Graphix Cup Series, race number 6 of the season. It'll be Ira Kohlhaas and Davidson on the front row tonight as the pace car pulls off to the left. And Kohlhaas going to lead them to the green flag here in the Las Vegas 200 as we go green, next-gen style on the Captain Esports Network. And, of course, the first lap brought to you by Sim Speed Shop, specializing in custom sim racing hardware. Sim Speed Shops manufactures sim racing hardware utilizing the best components available, as well as mixing in real-life racing components when available. Customize your hardware and rig today by going to simspeedshop.com. And right off the bat, Ira picking up right where he left off. Down into turn 3 and 4 with the lead. You got the Pepsi machines up there in the front. Press the top button for Ira. Press the middle button for Brandon Massey as they lead lap 1. Of course, this young man to my right, Mr. Landon, doesn't even know what a glass Coke bottle or Pepsi bottle in this case would look like, as I think about the old school days of when we would have to push a button on a soda machine and try to figure out which one's which, and out would come a glass bottle.
I've had a few. I actually prefer the glass over the plastic. They taste better, but
it's a weird feeling though when you drink it, because you're used to the soft, obviously, of the plastic, and then it's almost like you're this sounds so weird. It's like your lips get sealed around the outside, and it kind of like a suction almost, and it feels weird drinking it. But it's good. So you see Massey up to the lead here in turn 3 and 4 as they come off. And you see now Murata up there to P2.
We'll see if he can make a move. He's got a teammate back there in 4th, but obviously then, you know, Brandon's teammate's right there in 3rd, and he's a little bit closer to Brandon, so I don't think Murata can make a move quite yet. He's going to have to wait for a little bit of backup. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, he's got to his right rear. Just not enough of a run there. And you mentioned that bubble. I think we talked about this a little bit last week at Bristol. Is pretty much non-existent in these next-gen cars. So, you know, when you drive like the Cup cars out there on a super speedway track, you sometimes have to almost off-center yourself to get to the bumper of the car in front of you, where, you know, in these kind of cars, you can actually get to that rear bumper.
You can get there and it doesn't really affect you at all,
No.
and you can get as close as possible, which helps out because then you can go in side draft. The side draft effect in these cars is a ton, and it's amplified with these cars. If you side draft someone, it will slow them down big time, and you will stall.
Not sure if Murata got tight or something there, but he had to jump out of the gas, fell all the way back to the 4th position. He's got help there with Quisenberry into turn number 1. But you see all 10 cars right here in this pack. Obviously, handling not really a big deal. The one thing we've learned about these next-gen cars, the tires are not really falling off. And that's no matter what track you go to. You can probably take these things to Darlington and they don't fall off that much, weirdly. But the temps do go up and stuff, and that could be very interesting and so on and so forth. But already lap number 6 in the books. Now, one thing I will say tonight, of course, the cameras you're seeing on the track, presented by Track Cams for Gourmet. You can check them out, trackcams22.com, or on Facebook. Looking for oval or road course or rallycross cameras and so much more. You can check them out again, trackcams22.com, or on Facebook. Side note, my favorite Mountain Dew drink is actually Code Red.
Or the voltage person.
I've never had Voltage. That's the blue one, right? Or purple one?
Yeah, the blue.
Whatever color it is.
Doesn't matter, it's good.
I remember that was a Pepsi drink. Never mind. I remember a Pepsi drink about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that looked like Windex. I can't remember what it was called, though.
Pepsi Blue.
It might have been Pepsi Blue.
Yeah, they brought it back. I think this year or
Oh,
last year.
I'm like, am I drinking? Am I drinking Windex here? What's going on? So the top 7 right now in this lead pack. That 9 car behind the 5. Let's introduce him. That's Joey Ladessor. He is a French-Canadian driver. He's more of a dirt track driver. But this guy, you put a car out there on a track on iRacing, he goes racing. He runs in an IndyCar series I help run. Basically is doing this series now. You're going to see him later tonight in the 2 dirt races I broadcast and stuff. And this man loves racing, and nothing wrong with that. He races actually 358 dirt modifieds up in his territory there in Canada and stuff. He's got some wins, got a son who races. So looking forward to watching him out here on the track as Massey continues to lead this quasi-Talladega line.
And there goes Landon up on the top. He's got his 2 teammates behind him, and going to try and see if he can pull these guys back to him and get the outside going.
So yes, for those wondering, that is Landon speaking in a third person. That's because we like to do that, because we're actually broadcasting a race that was ran on Wednesday. But still, it's live. We're here actually talking to you at 8:27 my time in Georgia on a Sunday night. And, yeah. Aren't you in the Midwest, I think?
Yeah, Kansas.
There you go. 7:25 where he is.
He got cleared the 03, and then he's got help. He just doesn't have quite the run, and then his teammate jumped out to the bottom there. Fry hoping he stayed with him.
Oh, Murata gets into him and turns the 03 into the wall. And that's going to bring the caution out, I believe. Look out. The 9 almost clobbered him. Or maybe not, because they're still hauling the mail over here. Unfortunately, this is the one. Yeah, and now the caution is out. Okay, I see the light flashing. So caution is out. And unfortunately, Landon, you've got a beaten up car now.
Yeah, that thing's toast.
The 03 definitely got the worst of it in this deal. It looked like just misjudgment from what I saw there. We'll look at the replay here really quickly as we, I like to say, roll that beautiful bean footage of the wreck here off turn, or into turn number 1, basically. You're going to see, it looks like maybe Murata wants to get up there and help you and just misjudges where you're at on the track.
Well, from what I've heard from the accident, it's kind of just a misjudgment that, trying to say like a product of the package.
Right.
Landon is trying to, side draft the 03 to bring back, him away from the 2 in front of him to get his pack going. And unfortunately, when Murata's down there in the bottom, he's going to get a huge run in the 03. He has nowhere to go. He doesn't want to hit the 03, and then, there's not enough room up top to pull up, and he just clips that left rear to 75.
And unfortunately sends you down into the 03, and that 03, well, does it for Dale, as they would say in iRacing. And
yeah.
Look at it. A lot of sword just comes flying through there. That was scary looking. But caution out here for the first time, lap 11. And some destroyed cars after that incident there.
That's going to shake the field up, too. That's going to be less cars to be able to build up momentum and make runs. The less cars that are out on the track with this package, the harder it is to pass people in general, because there's just no momentum with the pack. So that's going to be a tone setter for the rest of the race.
Yeah, it looks like you've taken your car to the pits to get worked on. Aaron Davidson is going to need a lot more. That man's missing a front end. He's got a modified and missing a rear end. So, you might as well throw that thing in the garbage.
Yeah, I think he ended up pulling that one behind the wall early.
So while they get their pit stops done here, we'll get these guys to pit road. And, of course, this series runs every Tuesday and Wednesday night as part of the Lightspeed Racing League. And next week it is the Talladega Super Speedway, I believe. So you're going to do some Super Speedway racing, if I remember correctly. I'm going to go look at the schedule, make sure I can verify that. So
that is correct.
It is correct. So some Super Speedway racing for these guys next week, Tuesday and Wednesday night. The Tuesday night race will be here on the Captain Esports Network Live at 8:30 Eastern Time. Actually, 8:15 will go on. And then, of course, we'll have the Wednesday race on Sunday night next week. As basically my Friday and Sunday nights have opened up now with some schedule, with some seasons ending for some that I broadcast for and stuff. So I found a home to slide into Wednesday broadcast of this race. So you'll be able to come back here every Sunday night. And, of course, tonight's one of those awkward nights where the Cup cars are racing actually right now in Vegas. But hopefully most nights we'll be able to get a good attendance out here and put on a good show. But Landon will be with me, and I thought we might have a special guest with us throughout this race, but I keep checking over here in Discord, and I have not seen him make an appearance yet, so we'll see.
I wonder who that would be. I haven't never caught that one in the pre-production meeting.
A special individual reached out to me last night and asked if he could join us, so we'll see if he does. So Joseph Moran has taken his car to the pits. He's come back out now onto the track here at lap number 13 also. Oh, man. So let's talk about Wilder Graphix. They provide the best iRacing paints and liveries around. You can check them out today on Facebook and take a ride on the wild side. And I'm going to be reaching out to Wilder Graphix probably as soon as I'm done with the 3 broadcasts tonight, because I have a gentleman in another league that I told him I would put a Captain Esports Network paint together for him to run in a truck race. Yeah, I don't know who it's going to be out of you and Anthony and whoever else obviously represents the painting crew there, but I'm going to give you a little bit of job security after tonight.
Hey, I mean, more work the better, I guess. As long as it looks good, right? I mean, that's I mean, just look at all the cars that are on the grid.
There's some awesome looking ones.
A lot of them, yeah, a lot of them painted by Wilder Graphix. So always fun to see them out in the track, and big supporter of the league.
Is the 42 a Wilder car?
Technically, but he painted that one himself.
Okay. I'm just curious because, I know the 33, obviously, that thing's sweet looking. Obviously, your 75 car, which looked a lot better a few minutes ago. The 5 car up there, that's a pretty sweet looking rainbow car. I'm not sure who else here obviously got paints by Wilder Graphix, but, it's one of those things where I've got plenty of paint people that I know, but it's like, where there's ones that I haven't supported yet because they support me, I'm going to return the favor back to them. I've always been one that, with the one thing I learned in broadcasting is try to support the ones who support you. So, like for instance, last week, where I work now at FedEx, we actually are borrowing a parking lot because we have so many extra vehicles and stuff. And there was actually a Spanish restaurant in that plaza. So I went over and had lunch there this week. Show my support. As we go back green, lap number 15, Brandon Massey in the Pepsi cars up front. Kind of reminds me of that Daytona night race a couple years ago where everybody of the Coke drivers ran Coke cars. And who won that race? I've seen if you might know this. I'll give you a hint. He was in a Pepsi car.
Would that have been Jeff Gordon?
That would have been Jeff Gordon.
Huh.
And he actually made a little burn in Victory Lane. He actually said something like, I saw all those Coke cars out there, but we see who the best is, or something like that. It was pretty funny, actually.
I mean, why not?
So how are the bumps here in turn 1? Because obviously, we talked with, who was it Tuesday night? I think it was Cameron Hearn, who mentioned, like, the only way you could get around those bumps in the Xfinity car was just go around them. How are they in the next-gen cars?
I want to be completely honest. I don't think I felt them Tuesday night or Wednesday night. I kind of just get bumps? In and I just go tunnel vision sometimes. I don't even feel things half the time that are there. But I don't know. I'm not the best person to ask. I think Cam is definitely the one that would know more about it than me. There are some ones that I do feel like Iowa turns 1 and 2.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Those are there. You cannot miss those.
No, that's why the high lane at Iowa will never work on iRacing. That bump is vicious. Another bump, very underrated bump, until you hit it, is turn 1 at Pocono. There's a bump in the middle of that corner that if you don't go around it or get to the bottom, you're going to do what the 33 Worley just did and shoot up the track to the right. It's like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, these guys are all over the place right now in this second pack because if you look ahead of them, the two in front have just completely pulled away. The two teammates are just tandem drafting and pulling away because of all the mess that's happening behind them.
You know, when they get side by side in these cars, and this is where, and maybe the 42 could be holding up this pack a little bit with that right side damage. But also, when you're side by side like that, think of like the old school. We talked about this. I forget where I talked about it, but you get
Daytona.
these. Was it Daytona? Okay, well you get the pullback almost, so to say. You get side by side, it slows both cars down. The front cars just drive away. It's like an old school 90s cup race.
That's the interesting thing about these cars. They just have aspects of almost every era of NASCAR, even with being so different.
Well, of course, the one thing we talked about back in the 80s and 90s, it was a big win on Sunday, sell on Monday was their thing. So basically, you would get this car that would go to victory lane and win a race, and then the next day there was always said that that car would have the biggest sales day of all the cars. So it would sell on Sunday, win on Monday. And then the whole next-gen car came out and the car of tomorrow and stuff, and we lost the whole car identity. I mean, you could throw a Dodge on a Ford body, a Ford on a Dodge body, a Chevy on a Toyota body. You could have probably thrown a Kia body on there if you wanted to. I mean, who's that? I forget the driver's name who runs the Lamborghini over. Now, granted, it's a real body of iRacing, but, you know. Bergani, thank you. And, But in all jokes aside, that was the way it was during the mid-2000s, and now they're coming back to, you know, you look at these cars and you grab a picture of one of the real-life cars. You look at a Ford Mustang. You look at let's see, we got the Chevy Camaro here. You got the Camry. When you look at the side of the actual production car, it looks just like these cars on the track. And they even got this, like, mean sound that you hear. It sounds like the now imagine though, what would be cool is if we totally had like the sound of an actual Ford Mustang coming out of these cup cars, because you know that sound is different than say a Chevy Camaro or a Toyota Camry, and that would be really cool. But I know you got to keep specs within regulations and stuff, and unfortunately that's where all cars sound the same.
Yeah, got to keep it fair,
or else we'll have F1 out here all over again. Smith & Wesson car number 40 of Dale Lee there, as you see the 33 of Worley kind of going back. A lot of Sewer's going to go by, and Murata also. And you see well, that was close.
Yeah, that was almost a right rear. That would have been bad for the 5 car.
We ride on board with Dale. There's those bumps in turn 1. You can kind of see the car porpoising a little bit.
You definitely see him now. I don't know how I didn't feel those during the race, but
it's bad. I mean, if somebody right now, and I'm sure you're probably doing it, if you're watching the cup race on the TV next to you there, you'll probably see those cars. If somebody's running the bottom right now in turn 1, you're seeing the car bounce.
It depends on the track too. Like Auto Club,
yes,
very bumpy.
Charlotte's become bumpy. Obviously, that track's starting to wear now. Trying to think.
Atlanta.
Oh wow, Atlanta speaks for itself.
Yeah, Atlanta's a completely different story.
Yeah, Michigan's got bumps. Kentucky has got its own character to it. So there's plenty of tracks out there that have their bumps. So here's the Pepsi tag team up here at the top. The 29 and 65. They got about 4.5 seconds over Joey Ladiseur, who's third. And you hear him pretty much wide open through these corners.
Bringing on the old tandem draft. It's almost like what I think it's Dale Jr. and Michael Waltrip tried to do at Charlotte once, except it's the reality you do it in a mile and a half.
Well, that was back in the massacre of the 06. I think it was Coke 600. No, 06. It was 07 was Mirrors. It might have been the 08 or 09 Coke 600, where they decided to ground the bottom of the track in the corners and basically created a top groove. That's what they were trying to do. And Dale Jr. tried to push Michael Waltrip down the front straightaway and caused a huge wreck in one of the now NASCAR record 22 cautions in that race. So 29 laps in the books next time by here, as Ira's pretty much led almost every lap so far in this race tonight. He and Brandon have been the fastest cars. You got Cade and Joey Ladassour back here, Dan Worley, and Keith Bouchard. He's out here kind of running a quasi-Daytona, I'm going to stick in the back type of race.
Yeah, socially distancing himself.
That's a good way of calling it.
Yeah. It should be the final lap of the stage. It should be comp caution number 1 coming up at the end of this lap.
And in lap 30 here, comp caution will come out and give these guys a chance to regroup and go get some damage fixed and go from there. As you see the 40 car of Dale Lee looking to the inside of Murata down to turn 3. Waiting to see the lights flashing. Unfortunately, with the ticker we have for the replays, the green light will stay up. There's the caution. The green light will stay up there on top on where Vegas is. Unfortunately, there's no way of me manually changing it unless it'll be the, ready for it, 0th caution. There's a new word for you, 0th.
Yeah. That comp caution was actually thrown by yours truly because I was still waiting on damage to be repaired. So.
Hey, Landon, can you throw the caution while you're up there?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even have to get told. I just flat out was like, hey, I'll do it. I'm out here sitting waiting anyways.
Don't mind me. I'm just getting a soda at the concession stand. As caution is out now for the second time here, so we'll see some pit stops here. So Cole Haas going to bring on the pit road. Ladassour is going to stay out. And here comes the 40 on the pit road and everybody else. And race off pit road won by somehow Landon, but it's not going to count for anything. He'll just come out first on pit road. Cole Haas going to win.
The only thing I win tonight.
All right, we're going to step away for a quick second, and we'll come back with stage number 2 of this race here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway as you're watching the Captain Esports Network and the Wilder Graphix Cup Series. Let's hit the right buttons first, Gala.
Butt kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at www.thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use promo code LSRL for 20% off.
All right, back we are here in Vegas as we get ready to complete lap number 34 and go back to racing here. And what has been a pretty interesting race so far. I've learned a little bit watching these cars out here, pretty much running a pack with each other. Now, when I say a pack, I mean 3rd through 8th running a pack. And then we have the tandem of the Pepsi duo up there in the front right now in this race of Kohlhaas and Massey. So, obviously, Mr. 75 car of Quisenberry, who's joining me in the booth, just gained one of his 18 laps back that he needs to get back on the lead lap in this race after suffering some pretty heavy damage in this race.
Yeah, Lady Luck was not on his side for this one. And it was just a sign. Tuesday night, he was running 13th on lap 13, and his crew chief came over the radio and just said, "Bring it on the pits, we're going home." So,
well, that's never good.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a sign that I was running too bad, and I came back and finished this, so I guess I showed him, but it should have been for this race.
Well, here we go. Pace car is in. We'll go back green, and thankfully tonight there's no 13th place car. But you see the single file line form up there on the inside as we go back, and I'm watching the 75 back there, see if he can even throw a fishing pole out there and just hook one of the cars and let him pull them.
That would be the hope. I mean, it happened once at Michigan, but also I think he had less damage when they super glued that bumper back on.
That's still one of my favorite looks. I was like, man, did a kid put this back on?
It was fast. It worked.
"35 laps. So just looking over the telemetry, everybody did take tires. Cade Ferguson spent some extended time on pit road. He got damage fixed in that number 42 car, so he should be, if not up to speed, as close as he's going to be probably by the end of tonight. But everybody else looking pretty solid tonight here in this race that has not been involved in a caution.
Yeah, that was phantom damage for him. We talked about it. He didn't get involved in that incident, that first incident. He passed by it, didn't hit the wall. They just had right side damage.
It's interesting you say that because it looked like caught what looked like somebody maybe sideswiping the wall when the wreck happens. And I thought maybe it was him.
Maybe, but I mean, when I told him during the race that he had right side damage, he was like, What are you talking about? And I was like, yeah. He said, I have no idea how that happened.
I might have to go back and look at that. But I believe I'm playing the wreck right now in my head. I remember, because obviously I remember the 5 hooking you down into the 03, but I remember the 70 or the 42 was right behind the 5 at that time. And I believe he scrapes the wall trying to go around the wreck.
Either that or it could have been netcode. I know there was a netcode that ghosted me through the 03 when I hit the wall. So that could have played a part in they gave him some netcode damage.
What would be a race without netcode?
Hey, it's what happens when you go internet racing.
Fair point. You didn't have to point out the obvious there, Quisenberry.
Hey, I mean, you gotta have fun with it. It's our type of racing though, so.
Closest thing we'll ever get to do is we watch the 40 of Dale Lee under attack. The Cessna 33 going by. There's obviously Worley, a lot of Soar going by. There's the 42, and well, he's got most of that damage fixed. He's still got a little bit of the stripe there on our right side, but they go by for position there. Matter of fact, let's throw the old speedometer up here for a second for Lee. 179, 180. 5th gear, as you see, 182 down to turn 3, wide open. This corner a lot different than turn 1 and 2 is. Probably get a lot more speed here on the longer part of the straightaway as Murata falls back. No, I'm wrong. There must be a headwind going into turn 1. And when you get that air pushing on that front end, obviously, there's a speed like 184 down to turn 3. So obviously there's a tailwind pushing the back straightaway. So the wind, obviously, without even me guessing right now, is blowing out of the south here in Vegas.
I didn't even think about that, and that plays a big fact into to plate racing too. So it just shows these cars, they handle, it's almost just like a mini super speedway at these tracks.
Let's see if I'm accurate. I'm going to throw up our weather right now and see how accurate I am. Only because I kind of look at not geometry, but geography. Wind's from the north, so I'm actually got it backwards, which is weird because then that means there should be a tailwind down the front straightaway because the track.
Wait, wouldn't it? Well, if it's from the north, wouldn't it be going south?
Right, which is weird because Vegas is to the south of the track and Vegas is off turn 1. So it should be a tailwind down the front, not the back.
Well, iRacing's got it wrong.
I'm confuzzled. Help. Then again, I'm very easily confused. So one thing let's talk about here a little bit. You know, as I've pointed out, this race was ran on Wednesday. And there's been a little bit of news that's been put out since that time period. Obviously, as we see tonight, 10 cars started, and we're already down to 8 competitive, 9 still on the track. So one thing that has been announced by Anthony and the crew there of the LSRL League is they've said, all right, we're going to go ahead and switch to another vehicle. And oh, ho, that was tight.
Yeah, Kay's not going to be too happy with that.
But,
he's probably calling him a few names.
Why you whirly? You know, the one thing that's going to be made next Wednesday, we're going to see a switch to the trucks. What do you see as the impact there?
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. You know, because the trucks, they don't have the same pull. I mean, they're gonna draw a bigger crowd, is what the thought process is behind it, because you know everyone runs trucks.
Right.
You know, some people do like to run trucks. So we'll just see. I think that's more, they just want to pull more people and, you know, make a better product, and they think it's going to be a better product than what the next gen has produced.
Which is totally understandable. I mean, the trucks, I mean, some will argue, and I'll put it out there right now, that that is the best driving product on iRacing, which people love, is the truck. And I will say it is very fun to race. Now, one thing I think that'll benefit for the way the package is here with these cars is, you know, we saw the Daytona race. Passing was at a minimal, unfortunately, in these cars. The trucks, you're going to see side-by-side racing, and you're going to see 3 wide at Daytona and Talladega, and especially with next week being Talladega.
Yeah, I mean, there's always positive and negatives, too. I mean...
Oh, absolutely. Because
you think, you know, with these cars, they just ran so differently at Daytona. We don't really know if that was more of just in this race too. Is it a lack of performance because of the actual package itself, or just a lack of understanding?
Sorry,
yeah, I saw it big
there's
time
those
right there.
bumps.
But you know, it's tough to say too if the lack of performance can stem from a lack of understanding of, you know, of the package from the drivers too. Is a big part. So, you know, in terms, it just might not be that, you know, the cars aren't ready, and on top of that, I just don't think the drivers are ready for the package either.
Well, the one thing I learned when it came out last season, or 2 seasons ago now, since we've run that package, is you have to group up 3 to 4 to 5 guys to make a run work. Where we're used to having maybe a little bit of a tandem, but being able to line up 3 cars and be able to push and be able to get runs. It just seemed like, though, if you went outside, like if we'll use Ira and Massey for an example, if they tried to pull out on the field and try to make a move themselves, it was like somebody put the parachute out.
Yeah, you were going to need less cars to make that move, or just to get a really good side draft too, because I mean, there was a pass for the win towards the end, but there was also less cars within that lead pack towards the end of it too. So.
And somebody behind you apparently is very excited.
Yes. I mean, we were ready for that move. Hopefully we can, you know, bring the same magic to the super speedways, obviously, because I mean, had a very bad points day tonight. And you know, look at who's in the lead too. You know, Kolas is 3rd in points right now, 15 points back from the 75. So if he's able to hold on to a good finish or potentially a win, he gains, you know, 8 to 9 points.
Yeah, because 77's not here tonight in this race, Brady. So he's gonna fall a little bit down, but there's still plenty of racing to go. Obviously, you got Talladega coming up Wednesday night for these cars, or well, now will be the trucks, and then you got the Roval at Charlotte the following week. And then obviously from there you go to the last. If you haven't figured out the pattern yet, for those watching, it follows the NASCAR schedule basically along. So after the Roval will be Texas Motor Speedway, and then Martinsville, and then Phoenix.
Kansas, Martinsville, Phoenix.
Oh, forgot Kansas. Yep, Dorothy would be pissed.
Oh, good. And then and on top of that, we did miss out on the Wednesday night Richmond race, so that will be pushed to the finale for this series.
Good point.
So that's why we've only run 6 races. It wasn't a miscount. It was just.
Oh, I miscounted.
iRacing.
Don't give me credit.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
I mean, but it should have been run. So, you did your math. I mean, it was right. It was just iRacing had to, put out their build on the league day.
We need you to go watch an old Abbott and Costello video. Your parents will know who these two are, but there's a video out there that's. Oh gosh, of course I'm gonna forget the title. I always show it to people when they try to do math. It's 8 times. Oh my gosh, how do I not remember this? Or is it 7 times 13 equals 28? I think it's what it is. Funny video. I mean, you will laugh your tail off when you watch the humor of it. Because as you're thinking right now, wait, 7 times 13 is 28?
Yeah, no, that's not right at all.
Right? But when you watch this video, you're going to be like, how in the world? It's funny. Pretty funny stuff. It's stupid funny. If you're a fan of stupid funny, you'll like it. Of course, in fairness, Abbott and Costello weren't even alive when I was born. They were barely around when our parents were born. So Dan Worley having a great run up here in the 3rd position there. He's trying to hold on to the Pepsi duo up front there. But now we're starting to see a little bit of maybe handling coming into play with these cars. So you're seeing where the bottom line is. Well, now you're seeing everybody kind of go around the bumps right there on the bottom of the track. But Ferguson still got the damage on the 42 back there with Dale Lee. Worley's doing a pretty good job there.
A super good run for him.
He's got that pony of that Mustang looking pretty solid. So we're about 8 laps away from the end of, you could call it stage 2, but it's actually more of a competition caution. There's no stage points or anything thrown out. And the reason behind this is it's actually something I kind of like. Is, Anthony explained it to me at the beginning when we first started talking about the broadcast. He does it because he wants to keep the excitement up in the race and stuff. And it's not, I know it's going to be like criticized as like, oh, so it's a NASCAR type thing. Well, no. Obviously, the level of drivers in the sim is a lot wider than you see in like the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series. I mean, they're there for a reason. Here, I'll use Cameron Hearn for an example.
Yes.
And I'm going to use me for the other example. Cameron Hearn, I have case in point proof, will any night of the week whoop my tail end in a race. You could put me on my favorite track, he'll beat me by 10 seconds at least. So my point to that is, do you want to see somebody as talented as Cameron Hearn? Yes, you want to see him, do well, especially if you cheer him on. But do you want Cameron running away and sneaking up the show and we have nothing to talk about for 2 hours? No. So you put the caution out and you bring them all back together and you let strategies come into play and make the race interesting. So I kind of like the idea. And
I mean, it gives guys that figure things out during the race a chance. There are some guys that, I mean, like myself, when I practice, go in single car practice or the practice for the race, because that's usually all I do. I don't do anything separate. I don't really feel like I learn anything. I feel like I almost put myself in the same kind of line of running where I kind of just don't gain speed, and I'm basing myself off of almost like qualifying laps people are putting down. But as soon as you get me in the race, that's when I'll start to pick things up. And it'll be towards that last stage is when I really start to go. I mean, look at the Vegas race on Tuesday night. I started way in the back, 16th, and I worked my way all the way up to the 5th spot, and I even felt like I threw away a win. I felt like I was better than those guys on the longer run, but I played the wrong strategy. I short pitted because I've never been in that position where I've been
Right.
the better car in the longer run.
Well, let me throw this scenario out there too. If you're brand new to this league, would you not use, like, say, okay, you're driving a next-gen car at Vegas for the first time ever, hypothetically speaking. Would you not go out, you get the 1 hour practice to run laps, and now you have 2 competition cautions. So technically, the first 65 laps of this race, plus whatever you run in a 1 hour period, so we'll call it 85 to 90 laps, are almost learning laps for you so that you can take them to the last 100 miles of this race and race for the win, maybe, potentially.
As we see that second pack finally got going, they caught the 2 leaders.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a handling thing or if these guys just got in a straight line and just drafted their way back up there. Now, you see the 9 and 5 side by side here, and that's not going to help as Worley now and that front duo start to pull back away. And Massey having a little bit of, might need to get him some tin foil.
Play with the antenna a bit.
Yes. So 3 laps.
That's going to be the thing.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I was just saying 3 laps to go for the end of the caution, or end of the green run.
yeah.
Oh.
I was going to say, that's the thing. Ooh, contact with the wall there. That's not going to help out with these, well, they're composite bodies.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you're going to get side-by-side with someone in the pack, that's going to hurt the whole entire group. You're going to have to wait or just be patient with these cars and the runs they get.
Now, I will say this. If this is the way the finish is going to be, I would go ahead at this moment, try to make some moves. Experiment. Like, okay, this is the white flag technically right here. See what you can get out of it. Because what's the worst? Okay, you come to pit road and you restart where you do and go back racing.
Yeah, for right now, I was saying for later in the race, that'd be a big no-no if you're trying to make a run or set yourself up for a run.
Right. It's just a matter of how you're going to know if you don't try. You see, oh, look like Ladasor almost clipped the apron there. Coming off turn 4, he's got a little bit of help from the 42 as Kohlhaas will come across the line as he has dominated this race. And there's the comp caution, lap number 65 complete. And I don't know who has put the horsepower behind that iRacing Ghost 4X, as I call it, because still to this day nobody knows what kind of car it is, so I come up with my own name for it.
They make it where you can drive the pace cars. That thing can get up and go.
That thing also, I mean, you get some of these tracks, that thing will be drifting through corners, and it's like, man, what physics did they put on that car?
Bristol was so bad.
I still remember the one guy, I forget who it was back in the day in a league I was racing in, because for those who don't know, on iRacing, you can drive right through the pace car. It's invisible to the other. I mean, you can see it, but you just drive through it like pit road. And I actually knew a guy who come off turn 4 at Daytona, went through the pace car and wrecked. And it was like the one time I'd ever seen the pace car, what would look like wreck somebody. So 4 tires and fuel for everybody, and race off pit road, going to be won by a Pepsi car. Massey going to be second, Ladasor third. And we'll step away again. We'll get you ready for the final run here. 100 laps to go, or 100 miles to go in this Las Vegas 200 as you're watching the Captain Esports Network coverage of the Light Speed Racing League.
Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at www.thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use promo code LSRL for 20% off.
All right, back we are here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, virtually on iRacing. We appreciate everybody joining us tonight as we run the Las Vegas 200 here, Sin City, USA, about 15 minutes to the north and east of Vegas. If we look at the Nellis straightaway that's named after the Air Force Base that's there in Vegas. We have had 3 cautions so far tonight, one for an actual wreck involving somebody standing next to me, so to say. That would be Mr. Quisenberry, who was involved in an incident earlier tonight with his teammate. But otherwise, we've had 2 comp cautions as we come back to the green. As we come off turn 4, and I think this is a good time for us to go ahead and turn it up. Vegas style here on the Captain Esports Network. As you see the 2 Pepsi cars back up in the front, the Mountain Dew Live Wire, number 65, Brandon Massey, the 29, Ira Kohlhaas, and the 9 of Joey Ladasur, your top 3. Down the back straightaway into turn 3. And 60 laps to go. There will be 1 at least green flag pit stop to get them to the finish of this race. Question is, I'm trying to think, 80% fuel of roughly 60 to 65 laps. Here's that 13 times 7 is 28 type of math again. And
I think they're going to push it about 30 to go.
Yeah, so I'm thinking split it in half, probably go 30 to go, get you to the finish when it's all over with. So we'll see.
And there was some fuel strategy a little bit. Murata and Ferguson came in and topped off the last lap before they went green. So they have a little bit more fuel than these guys, but I still don't think they're not even going to be close to making it.
Which might be the case, but you know what? As one thing I've always, I wouldn't say I always live by, but I've learned it a lot lately, and I've kind of put myself to it when it comes to racing. All right, if you're in the shoes of Bouchard or Ferguson or Murata, you're 2.5 seconds back already from this pack. You're obviously not in the competitive speed of these guys up front, if it's damage or whatever. So how do you beat the guys up front if you just run the same strategy they do? If you're going to follow them to pit road, you're going to follow them to the checkered flag. So do something different. So pit, you come back out, and now I would run all the way to the end of your tank and let them pit in advance. Do something
and that
different.
benefits them too, because they're probably planning on it with just a tire fall for these cars going with no tires. They're probably just going to go fuel only. But the benefit of staying out longer than these guys is if they can see whether or not this lead pack takes 4 tires. So if they do take fuel only, if they're going to take the lead or not, you'll get to see what everyone else does.
Right. And I think those are all very fair strategies to keep an eye on here. So we'll just have to see what all transpires in this race. You see the front 5 have kind of stretched it out, just running their own kind of line out here. Obviously, the chances of having a caution at this point are about as slim as can be. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. I mean, that's why you run the race.
And caution would definitely shake things up here towards the end. Especially if it came later in the run to where it's in the middle of the cycle of stops, because then that throws everything off.
Yeah, because then you got wave arounds and lucky dogs and all that stuff. And that's not something we're wishing that will happen. I mean, we're just throwing all the possibilities out there right now. So we got 53 laps to go as they cross the line. A lot of these guys kind of bobbing around a little bit. So, yeah, you got these guys here, and then you got these 3 back here that have actually kind of held steady a little bit now. It's right at about 2.5. Murata, Ferguson, and Bouchard. And maybe they purposely did this. Maybe they're falling back a little bit here just to kind of run their own pace. And you mentioned they just came off pit road with fuel in their cars. You see the 64 kind of working his way up there. So that's probably what you're seeing here is a little bit of fuel save maybe out of those cars. I would have to say to be able to go 60 laps, which is a normal tank of fuel here on 80% fuel. I don't know about that.
That's quite the stretch.
I don't know about that. That's a fifth of a tank you got to fill there.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty substantial amount of fuel that you're gonna have to save, and with the cars being full throttle too. So if you have to let off to save, you're gonna be losing way more time.
Yeah. I mean, they pitted at lap 68, 133. You're looking at 60. Is that 65 laps? Yeah, 65 laps. Hey, for effort on trying.
I mean, they're not getting until you try it, I guess. I mean,
right.
We'll see if it works out, but I mean, it's going to be interesting because if these guys do take fuel only and you're saving, there is probably zero chance that strategy's going to pan out.
Let's take a look at a race summary really quickly. Of course, brought to you by Track Time Entertainment. Ira Kolas leads. He's pretty much dominated this race. 4 cautions for 15 laps. Wait, there's only been 3 cautions in this race, I think. I'm trying to count now, all of a sudden, top of my head here. But 10 cars raced in this race. 30.3 is the fastest lap of the race. And yeah, so on and so forth. And that brought to you by Track Time Entertainment, where, of course, you can check out their custom-built simulators for the virtual racing community. They manufacture the simulators in Texas and use U.S. extruded aluminum. Visit Track Time Entertainment on Facebook for all your sim rig needs and a full lineup of their products, proudly made in the USA. As we ride with Lada Sewer. These guys just continue to run single file here. A little block by Massey. A little bit of teamwork maybe going on.
I mean, just protect. I mean, if I'm in the 9 shoes here, I'm going to try and see if I can try different things to get a run to get past the 65. I mean, even though he's not going to help me past the 29, just try something. Like maybe, you know, back up and try to get a bigger run to see if you can launch and side draft or just try and run up on him and see if you can just get him on a different lane. But it's going to be really hard with those two being teammates in the lead to try and separate those two.
You almost maybe try to go reach out to Worley or reach out to Lee and say, hey, these two are obviously working together. 3 plus 3 is higher number than 2. Let's work together on this. And then you got 2 other cars behind them, or those are the 2, actually. I'm sorry, I thought I was seeing 2 other cars. I'm seeing things here.
I mean, that would be the best strategy. Just try and get some, you know, some teammates, even though they're not really teammates. I mean, you got a common enemy in front of you.
Right.
Go out there and see if you can get them.
You see the other pack now 2.8 seconds back, so right in that picture there you see the 64 having a little bit of blinking issues himself. But that is Murata, Ferguson, and Bouchard there.
Yeah, the hope would be for these guys is to be able to catch back up with that lead pack. We saw, you know, you're able to do it once, but there was a huge amount of cars in that second pack compared to the top 2 when they did catch him in the second stage. So I just don't know, 3 cars versus 5 now with the 2 add-ons behind the 9. I just don't really see if that's going to be able to, they're going to carry the speed to be able to catch this lead pack.
And that's a product of this new next-gen car. When you have a car that doesn't really wear out the tires too much, and you're able to hold it to the floor, it comes down to strategy moves. It's like when you run an IndyCar race, it's pretty tough to pass on the outside lane of a track like this or a Chicagoland or a Kansas or something like that, because you can just pretty much stick it on the white line there and wish everybody the best of luck trying to get around you.
I wouldn't count out those guys, though. I mean, the 5 and the 42 are the same ones that they took that second pack in the Daytona Xfinity race.
Yeah.
Great. They had their teammate who's 20 laps down with them, too, in that time. But obviously, they don't have them now. But they've done it before. Why not do it again?
And we're starting to see what is, you know, a similar race to that. So, still 42 to go, though. Plenty of time and likely one pit stop here happening. Depending on what scenarios might happen, so on and so forth here. As I mentioned, speaking of Daytona, next week it is Talladega Super Speedway. Tuesday night we'll have the Grid Finder Xfinity Series from Talladega at 8:30 Eastern Time. Landon finished second in Daytona in that series. So can he back up what was a second and a first that week on the Super Speedway races? But, of course, Wednesday is going to be a slight bit different, as it'll be trucks instead of the next-gen cars on the track. And
we'll see. Those super speed races are completely unpredictable.
Yeah, pretty much. Man, there's so many things that you could say that are more predictable than a super speedway race. But next Sunday night, we'll have the race for you here on the Captain Esports Network, that Wednesday night race that they run, that you guys run, obviously. We'll have it for you Sunday night. Lot of soaring at 9, just kind of hanging on there in the back, just kind of trying to figure out, all right, how do I make this move? What do I do? Because you see the 65 is almost driving out the mirror, trying to protect the 29.
That's a good teammate right there. So, I mean, it's not the first time we've seen it in racing, too.
Oh, no.
It's going to be tough. I mean, almost he would... The best case scenario would be if he could give Massey enough of a shove to where he has no choice but to pass Ira. And then that would, you know, net gain the 9 to the second spot.
Which at that point, you probably see Massey, as he clipped the apron there, that's what shoved him up the track. That might have hurt his momentum a little bit here, actually. But in Massey, what he would do then is probably drag the brake and slow down the push as much as he can, which then he risks getting himself turned.
Yeah, you really don't want to do that. We'll see, because once you do get a run on someone and you get their quarter panel, they have no chance of getting back unless they side draft you back. And then at that point, they stall each other out, and then the 9 has a golden opportunity to go take the lead.
33 car just went way up the track there of Worley. Not sure what that was about. He went up and got the wall, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I think there might have been some contact there with him in the 40.
So obviously we continue green as nobody spun out, but that was an interesting situation here. Let's see. Oh, Dale pushes up there, and yeah, he kind of doors him.
Got tight and then just scraped it. I mean, I don't know if that would be that much damage from that little of a scrape, but
well, you're going 180 miles, and granted, yes, cause it's the bodies they're running are different, but still 180 miles an hour into these corners, and you getting to the door of somebody, it's probably going to do a little something.
Yeah, plus, you know, iRacing still doesn't have these things 100% accurate. I mean,
Right.
They have no damage model to go off of whatsoever. I mean, they could take that Texas test car that they crashed and see what they can do with that, but yeah, they have really nothing to go off of yet.
I'm more curious who built that car. And realizing that building that car, that it was going to get destroyed and all that money goes down the drain.
I don't know. NASCAR has their interesting ways sometimes of getting things done.
Just a thought, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a couple of years ago, they actually sent Michael Waltrip out when they invented the roof hatch. And they actually purposely tried to get him to go airborne and flip over in a car at Talladega.
Yeah, they have some wild solutions to fix some problems. And they also create them sometimes, too.
Yeah, yeah, not on purpose. So Worley has fallen all the way back now to the 8th position. And he's actually going to come to pit road here. He's like, yeah, I've got damage. I need to go get this fixed now. He's in the window. 34 laps to go. Just kind of short pit here. And bring that Mustang to pit road for the first time here under the green flag.
And we'll see if that brings anybody else down pit road. I mean, he's by himself, so it really depends on the teammates. We'll see.
Well,
Yeah, there goes Mojica.
Yeah, and here come the Pepsi twins coming to pit road. That's a new nickname for him. So that for the first time in, geez, pretty much all race, hands the lead to somebody else, and that somebody else is Joey Ladesseur right now. So now the question is, with these guys coming to pit road first, if you're Joey and them, it's like, all right, what can I do to maybe jump these guys? They're going to stay out.
Well, he did. The 40 did not. The 40 came down pit road. I think he was trying to... Yeah, I think I remember this from the race. The 40 tried to kind of politic with the 9 to see if he would go with them, and the 9 is running his own race.
Yeah.
So
there go the 2 off pit road. Good stops for them. 14-7, actually a 15-1 for Massey. And now Massey's trying to, I don't know, look like he's even trying to pass him on the bottom there, but not going to happen. as they trying to roll their way up to speed. As Joey out here by himself now, just pretty much foot to the floor, trying to run whatever he can get out of this thing. As now Murata and Ferguson and Bouchard come to pit road. So basically just doing exactly what I talked about earlier. Just going to pit when the leaders do here. And I'm not sure if they got the pace to stick with them, but looks like the one guy that's going to try to do something different is the 9. Which, you know what? I'm not surprised. Joey's one of those people. He will wait till the last minute to pit.
I mean, why not? But then the question is, too, the longer he stays out here and he doesn't get a caution, the 2 that were hooked up together with the 29 to 65 are just going to completely pull away.
Which, looking at that lap of 31.84 for Joey. We'll see where these others run lap-wise here as Ira and Massey jump up there. And it looks like that lap of 30.99 and a 31.01, so about a second faster. As Landon goes another lap down, at least he won't finish last tonight.
He's just going out there, and that's the the thing too. He's just out there. He's going to stick it out. He's got the points lead. He has to get this bonus point for finishing the race. If he would have rage quit out, hopped out of the sim, that's a loss of a point. So
right.
He's just out there to gain himself some spots and some needed bonus points for late in the season.
Last time by Ladasur at 31.78. The rest of the field 30.83. So that's a whole second right there he just lost to the leaders. I think it gets to a point where you got to cut your losses.
Yeah, I mean, the only way he's going to get it is if he gets the caution.
Let's see how the rest of the field came out here. Dale Lee out here by himself right now. Joseph Murata, all these guys are pretty much by themselves now. And you got a little bit of a pack right here with 6th, 7th, and 8th. But Worley now a lap down. Actually, well, they're all a lap down technically right now, but Worley's actually a lap down to the actual field once everything cycles back around. Oh, hold on there, Cade.
Oh.
Cade is spinning. Not sure if that's going to bring a caution out or not. I don't see the lights. I'm looking for him. He's still trying to get him straight.
That might right there.
There's your caution.
Yeah.
And Ladasur is like, that worked out, I guess, well for me.
That worked out perfectly.
I mean, considering if he pits there, you're looking at him losing probably a lap, if not a good amount. The 42 just gets loose off the corner, it looks like.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, these cars are pretty stable, too. I just don't know if it was the air and he kind of got some damage or whatnot there. Because these cars, they do handle different with damage. I learned that at Michigan. You hit the right side of the car, and these cars are symmetric, so you have that airflow, and as soon as you, flatten that right side, it handles way different, because then the side force starts getting put back on it, like the current cars. They get a lot looser. So that probably had a role to play with it, and just don't know if he maybe clipped the apron or just, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't see. I mean, it just looks like the back end comes around here. We're on board with him right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just stepped out on him. There wasn't no major wheel input that maybe you say if he over-corrected it to the left or just overdrove it to the left, it just hooked.
That right there is where the caution came out.
He probably would have been okay if he was in the grass. That little extra just, he got the rear tires were still in the grass trying to get back around, so it spun him twice. That was going to do it for the caution.
So 25 laps to go. Caution number 4 on the track. And it gives us an opportunity. We'll talk a little bit about the butt kicker. Of course, products are silent subwoofers that deliver powerful and audible bass through your couch and chair so that you can feel crashes and racing engines and special effects in your movies and games. You can use the promo code LSRL, 20% off the Butt Kicker website on your purchase. So again, LSRL, 20% off at the Butt Kicker website right now if you type that code in to get your products. As the 9, the only one in. And, of course, pretty much everybody going to take the wave around. Kohlhaas actually will get the lucky dog here.
Yeah, so if tires were an issue, I would be able to come down and take tires where no one else would.
Right.
But that's just not going to be the case. Everyone's going to probably stay out here and end up taking the wave around. Obviously, a few cars. So Ferguson won't be able to because he'll be taking the EOL for
Right.
the cause of the caution. So he'll stay a lap down. Worley will be 1 lap down still because he was 2 before the caution. And then I'll stay 20.
The chances of getting that lucky dog.
Yeah, I actually got, I couldn't even win the free pass. Everyone was a lap down.
Nice. Well, we'll step away for a quick second. We'll come back and get you to the checker flag here. This Las Vegas 225 laps to go as you're watching the Captain Esports Network in coverage of LSRL.
Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at www.thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use promo code LSRL for 20% off.
All right, here we go. Getting ready for the green flag. 23 laps to go, and you're going to see a very weird restart here. You got the one car that's the leader, Joey Ladouceur. He is up here at the front. You're going to have the 33 of Dan Worley is going to be on the outside. And the reason why that is he took a wave around, so I believe he gets to start on the outside. The rest of these guys took the lucky dog or the wave around to get back on the lead lap. So because of that, they're all starting single file. So we've got one row doubled up.
It's throwback to the, what was it, pre-2009, pre-2008 days? But
actually, you go back to the 1990s and 1980s, back when actually in the Cup Series you had to start. The inside line was the lead lap cars, and the outside was the lap cars back in the day. And it swapped. and then eventually became double file.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a fan of the double file on that one. I think that was a good rule change.
Well, of course, when you have a car like Dale Jarrett sitting in the middle of the track at New Hampshire and they're all racing to get the lead lap back, that's not dangerous at all.
Yeah, there definitely been some good changes for NASCAR, but that 9 car, he's got a good scenario going on because he has this lap car, the 42, and then the 2 teammates are separated behind him right now.
But of course, there goes those guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, is when these 2 teammates, if they do get hooked back up, he is gonna have to do almost a Joey Logano job of blocking these guys from getting the lead.
Somebody apparently listens to the Door Bumper Clear podcast.
Well, I mean, this just, looking at the way Joey races, that's the type of thing. Something it's not even an iRacing that they said that is in the next gen cars. These cars are going to have a rear view camera.
Yeah, they're going to have a camera, which I think is going to be very interesting, and I have a feeling that won't last long. I have a feeling they'll have a camera, but they'll probably have mirrors in there too, because you're now trusting a video to be able to see the cars behind you instead of an actual mirror. So what happens if that video goes out in the middle of the race? Anybody think about that?
I think they still got the mirrors in there, but the camera's like an add-on to it. But I just think kind of plays in the hand of someone like Joey. It makes blocking a whole lot easier, I feel like, unless you misjudge it.
We've heard drivers say that Joey Logano is an arrow blocking blankety blank.
I think every driver has choice words for Joey.
Here comes the power, the tag team on the outside, the 29 and 65 with the draft, and Joey's like, what'd I do to deserve this?
Yeah, and nothing. I mean, there's nothing he can do. He just doesn't have any friends out there with him. I mean, maybe the 42, but at the same time, I know Cade, he probably doesn't want to affect the finish of this race too much being a lap car.
Right. Well, not to mention he's probably not 100% powered either because of the damage he had on the right side of his car. So I'm sure that's not helping things either here.
Exactly.
So there is 4th, 5th, and 6th back here. This is Dale Lee and Murata and Bouchard as these guys are about 5 seconds back as that restart just kind of spreaded everything out.
Yeah, these guys kind of know that they could probably keep up with those leaders if they wanted to, but they just didn't have a choice. I mean,
right.
The restart set the tone for everything.
So speaking of Lana Soar, who actually is fighting back to the inside here for second. He's going to be a part of some dirt racing you're going to see here on the Captain Esports Network coming up after this broadcast. That you might want to be a part of. It's the Short Track Super League, a series that runs on dirt Monday nights. But due to some other constraints I have with other leagues and broadcasting and stuff, Michael, Stefan, and I have gotten to know each other very well the last year or so and have a great relationship, a super cool individual. And, he has a dirt league, and I told him that, well, as soon as I can, I'll get the videos up and we'll broadcast them and stuff. So we're going to have that coming up after this. Cedar Lake. Somewhere out there. So Ladasor has officially moved to second here, so he ain't going away without a fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, he just didn't have the momentum with him there. He didn't have a car. It was 3 cars versus 1. He just couldn't quite get to Ira's quarter panel in time to pull him back.
I mean, he's still almost there at Massey, or at Massey's, but now he's cleared of him now. Now the 42 is kind of blinking out here, so now the protecting line is going to go.
Yeah, but then Massey's almost going to go back to doing what he was before the caution came out. Just sit there and be able to move the air a little bit to where it does not help the 9.
I'm pretty sure Joey is going to, immediately after this broadcast, probably go to the store and buy Coke products.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't blame him. I prefer Dr. Pepper. That'd be my go-to, but I kind of dabble in all of them.
That's my drink of choice. Either that or lately it's been the orange vanilla Coke.
Ooh,
The
that
old
one. I did not.
creamsicle. That's some good drinking right there.
I disagree on that one.
Well, here's the thing. Do you know what a creamsicle is?
Yes.
Okay.
Not a fan.
You are not a fan of the old lollipop?
No. Nope.
Or lollipop, the ice cream bar. What am I talking about?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not on ice cream days in elementary school. That was not my my choice there.
So 11 laps to go. Cole Haas, Massey, Ladasor, and Dale Lee are top four. However, that 42 car, that is Cade Ferguson. He is in the middle of this lead pack, just the way it all shuffled out. He is the first car a lap down right now in the 7th position in this race. Now, Ira, of course, enters tonight's race without a victory. He would be the 5th winner in 6 races if he could pull this win off tonight, as he sits 3rd in points. The only bad news about sitting 3rd in points is, well, there's only 10 cars in this race, so unfortunately the points are not going to change too much.
Yeah, even if with the struggles of the 75 tonight. Not only would Ira be going for, his first win of the season, but the first win of his career in this league. He's never won in the LSRL. He's gotten close. He came up short on fuel mileage last season at Dover. He was a lap too short, and Justin Wilson ended up coming by and taking the victory there. New Hampshire lost it in like a pretty heartbreaking fashion there at the end. So he's been close. He just hasn't been able to close the deal on one yet.
And Ira's a pretty good racer. He's been consistent. Obviously, in the short time I've been able to cover this league, I've seen plenty of great runs for him in this race, or in these races. And here tonight, he's obviously been the dominant car. He's playing the Pied Piper tonight a little bit with help of his teammate, but that's what teamwork will do. I mean, obviously, Massey has sacrificed himself, and here's Kolas has led almost over 100 laps tonight, if not over 100.
I mean, on top of that, too, Massey's not running for points. He's been part-time this season. Ira has everything to gain from this race.
Right.
By winning it.
And obviously going to Talladega next week, you would think that Kolas might sit behind Massey and say, all right, this one's yours.
Yeah. So it's unpredictable, but you got to find your guys, right? I mean, I did it in both races, and so at Daytona it's possible. It's all about perspective. I always love the super speedways, the different strategies you could pull in there. I always like the Tony Stewart strategy, just ride in the back until the end and then get up there when all the carnage goes away.
People think it's boring, but you know what? It's boring until you go out and win one of those races doing it that way, and then it's like, well, wait a minute, what'd you do different? Well, here's the thing. You put yourself in the pack, so you get wrecked. And things happen in the pack that's unpredictable. You go riding in the back, chances are a lot lower to get wrecked. Is it boring? Maybe. But you know what? It's probably a lot bigger percentage-wise to get to the finish.
It's like that old Michael Schumacher quote, first you have to finish.
Oh, yeah, the finish first. You got to first finish. So coming to 4 laps to go. Kolas trying to hold him off here. Obviously, Massey, Ladasor, and Dale Lee, and those guys have fallen 10.5 seconds back, so obviously they're going to be fighting their own little pack for position there. As Kohlhaas brings him back across the line. 3 to go. Nine looking to the bottom. A lot of sore thought about it.
Yeah, he had a really good run. I think he backed up a little bit to see if he could get to that 65's quarter panel. If he can do it again, he might have a shot.
What he could probably really do is back up to the 42's bumper and let him give him a shove.
I mean, that would double his run because, I mean, you get one guy behind you right up on you and then get that run with 2 to go.
Right.
I mean...
Well, the one problem that Joey has, though, is he doesn't really probably know Cade well, so you can't really say, hey, Cade, would you help me? And Cade could easily pull the whole, yeah, I'll help you, and then not.
Yeah. I know Cade, I think he would, but obviously the 9 doesn't know him as well as me, so we'll see what happens here.
As they come off turn 4, they'll see the white flag. You see Massey seeing that run coming already from the high side. Final lap from Vegas. The run not there for the 9.
And we'll see if Massey maybe was going to pull a last-second move on the last lap to win it. I don't know if he will, though.
As Kolas bringing him wide open through the corner line of sort of the high side. That pretty much took Massey's chance out because he has no help behind him. So Ira Kolas, first career LSRL win in Vegas.
Long time coming for this one.
They can't take it away from him. It doesn't matter how many cars started, or it's like I always say in the game of baseball, in the newspaper, it says you hit a home run. Doesn't matter if you hit a home run with a ground ball. A home run's a home run.
I mean, a win's a win. You got to think of it that way. The first win I ever got in this league came off of Hermie Sadler getting black flagged on the restart. So, you know, anything can happen, and, you know, at the end of the day, he took the checkered flag first.
Who black flagged Hermie?
Hey, Hermie jumped the start. He broke the rules. I'm not going to complain.
Somebody's not getting a bologna burger from his restaurant now.
Yeah, but hey, that was the admin's call, not mine.
I'll let you guys figure out who the top 5 is because they got it all jumbled up on this screen. But, no, it's Kolas, Massey, Ladisor, Dale Lee, Keith Bouchard finishes 5th. Good race for him. Murata, Ferguson, Worley, Quisenberry, and Aaron Davidson. Your top 10 as Ira gets his opportunity to go light him up. Obviously a great race tonight here for obviously 10 cars tonight, which, you know, is not the biggest turnout, but you know what, they made the best of the situation, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the broadcast here this evening. I'm looking to see if any of them are here. I think they're probably all watching the Cup race probably. But I know Ira obviously going to be pretty happy, I would think. I think he's trying to do an old Jimmy Johnson burnout here, and it's not working too well for him. There he goes.
I can't really blame him. That's these next gens are kind of hard to do burnouts in. I've had my experience with them. So
put the brake in the front and let her rip.
Well, when you don't do burnouts too much like me, it's kind of hard to to get them going, you know.
Well, you just put a little negativity in the brake bias, and it puts all the weight in the front, and you just slam the brake down, you hold the clutch, let it rev up, and then let it rip.
To write those down.
Well,
take notes on that one.
I mean, I haven't done too many either myself, in fairness, but the one I like to do is if I ever get a chance to win at Bristol, I used to do it on the NASCAR games on PlayStation when you were able to do burnouts and stuff. I would actually go into the corner and let the car coast down the banking and then let it just light up, because trying to climb the banking at Bristol, yeah.
Yeah, you can forget that.
So, all right, well, that's going to do it here for us in this race. Congratulations, Ira Kohlhaas and Brandon Massey, who finished second, and Joey Ladisor for finishing third. Mr. Ninth place, Landon Quisenberry, your final thoughts here as you go to Talladega?
Well, in terms of this race, you know, forget about it going to next week and, just survive. That's gonna be the big thing, and hopefully be able to pull off some of that plate track magic. It's Talladega. Everything happens in Talladega. You can't predict it. So, things can change. Obviously, with the Xfinity side, you have the same 3 guys up there every week with Wilson, Hearn, and Reed. And obviously, Dylan Reed having a pretty major points gap. That could change next week pretty easily. I know from experience that you can lose a lot of points in the points lead going into Talladega. So, the championship can shift big time next week. So you just have to, make do with what you got and hope for the best.
We will see what happens there. But, Landon, appreciate your time, man. We'll see you next Sunday. Best of luck Tuesday night. And we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And real quickly, I want to mention Grid Finder is the home of online racing communities. You can browse hundreds of leagues racing on all gaming platforms across every racing sim every day of the week across the globe. Browse through over 1,000 leagues racing on iRacing, Assetto Corsa, ACC, R Factor 2, F1 2021, I believe, is on there now, and more. If you're looking for a commentator or streamer for your racing broadcast or a designer for your next delivery, Grid Finder has all this talent in one place. If you run a sim racing league, make sure you upload your community to Grid Finder so that more like-minded sim racers can find you. It's quick, easy, and best of all, it costs all of free $99. Notice the first 4 letters I said. Grid Finder, find your place on the grid. And also notice that I had a tickle in my throat there when I said broadcaster, so I apologize for that. With that said, enjoy the rest of your night here. If you're watching here on the stream, I'm going to shut the stream off and go get ready for the other broadcast here in just a minute. But thank you again to Landon for joining us on the broadcast. And he kind of learned this last week. He's got it down already as he remembers that this isn't just a game.
It's iRacing.
There you go. I was going to say, you had it the first time. See ya.
Yeah.